One of the saddest moments of my Star Wars life has been when Carrie Fisher passed away. Now, there's been other actors in the Star Wars universe that have passed away, like Kenny Baker, David Prowse, Peter Mayhew, to name a few. But with Carrie Fisher, she was on screen and she was there the whole time, and you got to see her and you got to grow with her. She did character development very well, and it was an awesome time. So when she died, I felt like part of me had lost a very special friend, because even if they decided to revamp the Skywalker era, she would never ever be coming back. I'm sure that they could do AI and do her voice and her actual figure like they did in The Mandalorian with Luke, or at the end of Rogue One. But oh my gosh, her when I first saw Rogue One in theaters and the AI Carrie Fisher turned around and looked at me, I had this instant thought of Fiona from Shrek. That's what she looked like. Her voice sounded just like Carrie Fisher, but it just looked to me like she was Fiona from Shrek. And I just kind of chuckled in a theater when I saw it, because they did a great job with Grand Moff Tarkin, but Carrie Fisher, they didn't do such a great job. But that was the beginning of AI and CGI. And, I give him kudos for trying, but that didn't look like her at all to me. It might to you, but not to me. So anyway, I saw this article today from the Independent, which is in the UK, and it talks about the death of Carrie Fisher, and I thought I'd share it with you. And because Carrie Fisher had a really special part of my growing up, and I just loved her, and even some of her other movies that she was in I really loved, and I really enjoyed her. And she was such a feisty young lady, and as she grew older, she just became really feisty, and I just think she was hilarious. And her and Mark Hamill had such a special bond together, and then her and Harrison Ford had a special bond, and then her and George Lucas had a bond. So I'm going to read this article, and I thought you might enjoy it. So the article says, James Blunt says Star Wars bosses put pressure on Carrie Fisher to be thin before her death. Singer, who was friends with the late actor, has previously claimed that Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, partly blames him for her mother's death. That's pretty rough. And it says, James Blunt has claimed that Carrie Fisher was mistreating her body before her death in 2016 due to Star Wars bosses putting pressure on her to be thin. That's ridiculous. The You're Beautiful singer, 50, was discussing his memoirs loosely based upon a made-up story at Hay Festival when he reminisced about his late friend Fisher, who died suddenly, aged 60, in 2016. Blunt and Fisher met through mutual friends in the noughties and struck up an unlikely bond. He ended up moving into her Los Angeles home, where she and her mother, the actor and singer Debbie Reynolds, I love her, also lived, and he recorded his first album, 2004's Back to Bedlam, while staying there. Blunt has previously revealed that he was with the Princess Leia actor the night before she was... I don't know why they keep saying actor. Blunt has previously revealed he was with the Princess Leia actress the night before she was found unresponsive on a flight from London to Los Angeles. She died days later, and a toxicology report found she had cocaine, heroin, MDMA, and methadone in her system. I don't know what MDMA is. I'll have to look that up. I was with her the day before she died. When she came down to my house, he told audiences at Hay, and she had been really mistreating her body, and she just got the job again of being Princess Leia in a new Star Wars movie. So she was really on a high and a positive, but they had applied a lot of pressure on her to be thin. She spoke about the difficulties that women have in the industry, how men are allowed to grow old, and women are certainly not in film and TV. He added, and she really put a lot of pressure on herself, started using drugs again, and by the time she got on the plane, she had effectively killed herself. They said it was heart failure of some kind, but she had taken enough drugs to have a really good party. It's kind of a crappy thing to say. The Independent has contacted Rian Johnson, who directed the 2017 film Star Wars: The Last Jedi, for comment. Lucasfilm has also been contacted. Fisher had completed filming her role as Leia in The Last Jedi shortly before her death. In Blunt's memoir, he previously wrote about how Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, blames him in part for her mother's death. Charlie, her best friend, confronted her more directly and told her she needed to quit drugs, he wrote. I took a different approach and did them with her, pretending to myself that I would guide her to redemption one day, just not today. As a result, her daughter Billie blames me in part for her death and no longer speaks to me. I would too. That's a really crappy thing to do. Oh my gosh. During the talk, Blunt also discussed his treatment by the tabloid press, his phone being hacked, his experience of being a British soldier in Kosovo, and the backlash to his 2004 song, You're Beautiful. Fisher was the daughter of a Hollywood power couple, movie star Reynolds and entertainer Eddie Fisher, but achieved her own fame portraying Princess Leia in the cinematic space saga from 1977. Apart from the Star Wars movies, she also appeared in When Harry Met Sally, Drop Dead Fred, and the TV comedy Catastrophe, to name just a few of her screen credits. When Fisher died, Star Wars director Lucas said that he and the actress had been friends most of their adult lives. She was extremely smart, a talented actress, writer, and comedian with a very colorful personality that everyone loved, he said in a statement. In Star Wars, she was our great and powerful princess, feisty, wise, and full of hope, in a role that was more difficult than most people might think. What do you think about that? I knew that her heart had basically stopped, but I didn't know about all the drugs. And what James Blunt said in this interview at the Hay Festival, that kind of infuriates me. That's not a friend. That's a moocher, a leech. To sit there and do drugs with this person who you knew is killing themselves. What a jerk. No wonder Billie Lourd doesn't talk to him. I don't blame her. That's just ridiculous. I know the rumors of Carrie Fisher back in the 70s when they were filming Star Wars, like in 76, her and Harrison Ford would have parties. They rented a flat in England from one of the Rolling Stones, and the Rolling Stones would come over and they'd have parties all night long where they wouldn't sleep and they'd do tons of drugs. So that was just a lifestyle back then. But to try to use drugs to lose weight like that is so bad for your health, as we see what happened to Carrie Fisher. And I think that's such a horrible thing for them to expect a 60-year-old woman to try to have this 20-year-old body, and it's not feasible. This body shaming stuff that Hollywood does for women to try to get them to fit this mold is just doesn't work. I mean, I have 3 little girls, and I tell you, if I found out that something like that happened, I would be so infuriated. I would probably do something to put myself in jail, because that is not something I ever want my daughters to have to go through. I tell my daughters that they are perfect in every way. They're perfect the way God made them, and nobody should tell them otherwise. Because if they love themselves, that's all that matters. Mom and dad love them. Their sisters love them. Nobody's going to sit there and tell them that they're not, who they're supposed to be. Sorry, that just touched a nerve, I guess. But anyway, I really, like I said before, I really love Carrie Fisher. And I think that this kind of took a piece of my heart when she passed away. And I just wish she could be here with us today, making more Star Wars movies. So that's all I have to say about that. But if you like my content, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, check this one out. You'll probably really enjoy it also. May the Force be with you always.